What's up everybody? In this video we're going to be looking at the Canon ae-1. So the Canon ae-1 was the follow-up to the Canon a-1 and was made from 1976 through to 1984. This is probably one of the most popular cameras ever sold. It was sort of a cheap entry-level camera with some auto exposure settings, and people really liked that. They sold over 5 million copies back in the day. So the Canon ae-1 has up to a 1/1000th of a second shutter speed with a 60th of a second flash sync. It has a shutter priority mode and it takes the Canon FD lenses. So when I initially was looking at buying a Canon film camera, I hadn't tried one before and I sort of wanted to get in. I was originally looking for the Canon f1, but I saw this Canon ae-1 with this 85mm f1.2 and the 50mm f1.4, and the whole kit cost about the same as what I was looking at paying for just the 85mm f1.2. This is sort of a lens that I really wanted to get in and try. I've been shooting a lot of portraits and I sort of wanted a fast 85 to have a go with. So the Canon ae-1 operates pretty much the same as every other film SLR. Pretty much all of them are more or less the same. The only difference is you're really going to find a slight quirks and the way that camera companies incorporated their technologies and things that they use. But overall, it's a pretty good camera. If you're a beginner and you want to learn with something, this gets the job done. So the Canon ae-1 operates pretty much the same as most other film SLRs out there. Nothing in particular stands out about it, and there's a few little things that I don't love about it, but we'll get into that later. I think the best thing about this system and these cameras is the lenses. They're really nice lenses. You've got some absolutely amazing glass to choose from. It does cost a fair bit and there's not as much of it because the Canon FD mount didn't last for too long. Canon changed to the EF mount I think in the 90s, so you've sort of only really got from early 70s to the 90s worth of lenses to be made. And a lot of the really interesting, fast and cool lenses have been really popularized in cinematography. A lot of videographers like to use them for manual focus and do things like that. So there is a little bit of more of a scarcity of lenses for some of the faster and more interesting ones, and you can find them, but they do cost a little bit more. I remember when I first was looking into Canon, I went through all the lens charts and I saw that there was a 24mm 1.4. When I went to look at that lens, there was none available on eBay whatsoever, and the last sold one, which was from a few years ago, I think came in at about $2,500, $3,000 or something like that. So a lot of the lenses can be quite expensive. This 85 1.2, you're looking at about $800 to $1,200 from what I've seen Australian. But if you just want something with a nice little 50mm or a 28mm, just some basic lenses, it's a good little kit. It'll get you where you need to be. It takes great photos, and it can get out of your way if you want and just be a good little camera. But for me personally, I kind of really like buying nice legacy lenses. I like to have a full kit and play around with things, and I think the Canon system just isn't quite for me. If I buy all these lenses, I want a few sort of cameras that I can upgrade to, and the Canon FD camera lineup feels a little bit lacking. After sort of the Canon ae-1s and the ae-1 programs, you sort of get the F1 and the new F1, and then apart from that, from what I've seen, I haven't found any cameras that really interest me at all. I find the F1 to be relatively expensive for what you get, from what I've seen, and I just don't love the whole system overall. This camera has a few things that I don't love. The build quality, it feels solid, but then a few things when you're operating it don't feel amazing, like the film winder or the film advance doesn't feel the best, and I don't really love the shutter sound. It doesn't have a lock on the back of the film door, so you can just sort of pop it open by accident. And my number one annoyance is you don't get any information in the viewfinder. So it shows you what your exposure needs to be with the exposure meter, but it does not tell you what shutter speed you're on or what aperture you're on. So you have to look in, see where it needs to be, then you have to look at your settings, and then you go, okay, I need to change my shutter speed, or I need to change my aperture, and then you need to keep pulling your eye back and forth to see where you're at and what you need to change, which can be a little bit annoying. Sometimes you'll be at f2.8 or something, and it'll say it wants f2, and you'll have to pull your eye away rather than just do one little click or two little clicks of the aperture. That to me is the biggest annoyance I've had with this camera personally. I just find it to be a little bit annoying when you're in the middle of a shoot and you're in the zone and you have to sort of pull the camera up, pull it down, look, go, okay, pull it back up, rather than just having the fluid motion sort of while you're there, being able to change and know and be able to see what's going on. I suppose if you get good with it, you'll probably be able to remember things like this and see it in your head and do all that stuff. But for me personally, it's just a little bit annoying. I don't particularly love it. But from as far as I'm aware, this problem is resolved with the Canon ae-1 program. So yeah, if you want to get one, potentially look at that one. I think this camera and these Canon ae-1s, they really come down to price. I think these were big casualties in the rising price of cameras. Very popular, well-known cameras went up a lot in value. I think these went up a fair bit, and I just don't know if they're worth the money that they sort of cost now. When I had a quick look on eBay, you're sort of looking around sort of the $250 to $450 Australian. And At $250 with a lens, that's not bad. I don't mind that, but they sort of, I don't know if they were tested or they weren't looking like the cleanest and neatest. And so for the slightly cleaner and tested and nicer ones, $450. I just feel like for either a little bit more money, you can get what feels like a lot nicer camera with a few more things. For the same sort of money, you can get a camera that's very similar, but with a few things that I sort of prefer and more options in the future. But overall, it really depends on you personally. I know a lot of people love these cameras, and the photos that I've made with it have been great. I haven't minded the photos at all. The lenses, as I said, really good, and the lenses make 90% of the photos when it comes to film cameras. It's the film and the lens. The camera's just the box. So, you know, that's something to think about. Is the user experience worth sort of the quality of the lenses? That's really up to you. So if you're interested in one of these, I'd suggest have a look around, try and find a few different prices. Don't particularly jump on anything, and try to buy them in bundles. I always find that they're a bit cheaper if you get, you know, a couple of lenses and a few bits and pieces, rather than having to find the individual lenses, because the individual lenses are sort of where they seem to be, you know, a little bit higher in price from people buying them, using them on cinematography cameras and using them for video and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm going to put up some of the photos that I've taken, some more of the photos that I've taken with this camera, some portraits with the 85mm and just some general walk around stuff that I've done with the 50mm. So I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you enjoyed those photos. Let me know in the comments down below which were your favorites. So yeah, the Canon ae-1, I think it's a decent little camera. I think at the moment they're just a little bit sort of overpriced for what you get, but still all around a great little camera. If you can find one for the right price, I'd say go for it. It's pretty good. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and comment down below any thoughts that you have, or if you have any other information that I might have missed about these cameras, please let me know. It's always good to get information out there. And please consider subscribing. It'd really help the channel out. I have a lot more videos coming on different cameras that I use and buy and all that sort of stuff. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.